Welcome to In the Loop. I'm your host, Mirchaye Sahlu. On December 5th of 2022, Montgomery County's 6 female council members were sworn in, making up the county's largest ever number of women to serve on the council and the first female majority council since the 80s. In keeping up with Women's History Month, join us for this special episode featuring our 6 female council members who are making a difference in their communities as they share insights on their role models.
That all came from my mom. If you want something, you really need to fight for it to get it.
On the challenges they face.
People may assume that one of the male members of my staff is a council member.
And I don't know if it's my gender.
And reflect on this year's annual theme of women who advocate for equity.
Barriers that have existed for communities of color.
Diversity.
You want to figure out where the balance is or where there might be imbalance that requires attention.
And inclusion.
Proactive about trying to pull people in.
And who have we left out?
Looking forward to today.
Council Vice President Kate Stewart.
Any other comments?
Is not new to public office.
And I'm going to say that as a mayor and as a mother. Our first priority.
She served as mayor of the city of Tacoma Park for 7 years prior to coming to the council.
The county council member for District 4.
Since joining the council, Council Vice President Stewart has led efforts on pivotal issues such as fiscal responsibility,
Please say aye. Aye.
housing affordability,
not just making sure we have affordable housing, but we have affordable communities.
and economic development.
Economic growth of our businesses.
And with everything she does,
who is Montgomery County's Council Vice President,
she works tirelessly to ensure inclusion and representation in her community.
Who's included, who's benefiting, and who have we left out?
The folks that are underrepresented in that survey are LGBTQIA plus elders.
I am really sobered and saddened that in our county here in Montgomery County, we don't have the access that we need to health care for our trans community.
And if we look around the room or we're doing something and really thinking about that, I think that will help us make sure that we're being inclusive, that we're really thinking about the impact that our policies are having on people.
She is also deeply invested in supporting the youth of her community.
And we want to make sure that we have spaces for young people to enjoy that as well.
Actively engaging in initiatives and programs to empower and uplift them.
One of the things that I'm really proud of was the event we held in downtown Silver Spring on Veterans Plaza for Buckets and Beats. And that was a day that we partnered with our regional services, with our rec department, and many of the community organizations that we have to bring young people out to play basketball, to skateboard, but also to connect again to the many services that we have here in the county.
Thank you for being here.
Councilmember Marilyn Bolm is committed to engaging and hearing from residents in every corner of her district on the issues that matter to them.
A year and a half in, I think probably the biggest accomplishment is my outreach to the community. One of the things that's just so apparent is that we hear from the same voices over and over and over again. Tonight we're going to focus on public safety. My area in the Up County is not a very vocal group, and it's not a very politically engaged group. We really need to have a much broader representation of the voices that we're listening to.
But we have a community problem, not a police problem. I'm a parent, I'm a grandparent, and it starts at home.
So that was my charge coming in. That's why I ran for county council. That's why I'm here. And so I'm in my community every Friday. I spend the whole day bopping around and meeting new people.
The promenade is going to take space.
Councilmember Bolm has taken on leadership roles advocating for her community prior to joining the council.
but her efforts were met with challenges along the way.
I think women in general face a lot of obstacles, and in politics as well. I'm often overlooked, and I don't know if it's my gender, my size, I'm small in stature, and now whether it's my age. But I'm often disregarded. I can't count the number of meetings where I come into a meeting and it could even be a meeting that I put together, and it's frustrating, and I have to overcome that by exerting my power and my influence.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for coming. And she's not the only one who's been met with doubts.
Being in this role and having young children, it's not easy. Even when I was running for office, I had people questioning me. Knocked on about 8,000 doors when I was running for office, and every now and then I will get somebody asking me, who's taking care of your children if you're like canvassing? And my answer will be, well, my husband is. A male candidate will never get that question.
Councilmember Natalie Fani-González, who serves District 6,
saying thank you to Councilperson Fani-González, and just thank you for your leadership. Thank you for everything you continue.
Has been involved in local government for over a decade. She came from humble beginnings, which has made her into the fierce advocate she is for her community.
You are indeed my role model as an immigrant, just like you.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we have that similar history. Just because of we came with nothing. We came literally with nothing. My biggest inspiration is definitely my mom. She left everything and came to a different country with no money. She was fearless, and she's the person who never took no for an answer. The United States is a nation packed with immigrants like me. So sometimes people wonder why I'm the way I am, because I'm very determined and very intentional. That all came from my mom.
If this is creating so much confusion, I'm gonna say, let's just remove it.
Who told me also that if you want something, you really need to fight for it to get it.
Councilmember Fani-González also spends time on the grounds in her community, engaging with residents and encouraging the next generation.
I had an amazing event in my district. It was a youth town hall. I was hoping to get about 90 students from different high schools in the area. We ended up with 150. And I love seeing the boys and the girls in the meeting, but the girls were the ones who really shined, being very vocal.
Most students have to wake up early and don't get enough sleep at night. Sometimes teachers will stop an entire class just because some kids are acting up.
Asking questions, it makes me really hopeful that at the local level we are in the right track.
Historically, women have encountered various obstacles when entering the workforce, stemming from factors like gender bias, unequal opportunities, and societal expectations.
The county in my district.
District 7 Councilmember Donna Luki.
The diversity of the place, the space, the people.
Passed legislation that would prohibit an employer with the Montgomery County government from requesting an applicant's sexual and reproductive health information.
If it is not necessary to their employment, it should not be required for them to disclose.
There is a disproportionate effect on women as a result of those types of questions that were being asked. Asked for medical procedures, which technically an abortion is a medical procedure. It also asked for any prescriptions that you take. So we got that barred at the county level, where it's only allowed to be asked medical information if it is in fact necessary to the performance of your job.
As a mother of 4 herself, Councilmember Luki is passionate about creating opportunities for women so they can advance their careers without having to sacrifice their duties as parents.
So the comptroller's report on the state of the economy at the state level indicated there were something like over 100,000 women in Maryland who haven't returned to the workforce since COVID. And part of that has to do with simply the logistics of managing work and family at the same time. So I think we can do a lot to encourage adaptive policies that make it easier to have women enter and stay in the workforce even while raising children. Oh, thank you. You had some excellent questions.
Tackling one issue at a time to make her community better.
You want to figure out where the balance is or where there might be imbalance that requires attention.
Do you remember ever feeling when you were younger, when you came upon moments like this where something didn't work or wasn't?
Councilmember Christen Mink.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Made history by becoming the very first Asian American elected to the council.
My mom is Chinese. She immigrated from Malaysia.
Since beginning her tenure on the council, Councilmember Mink has often found herself overlooked by others.
I can sometimes go into meetings or be at events, and people may assume that one of the male members of my staff is a council member. So we know that some of these assumptions still lurk in the recesses of people's brains, even unintentionally, even here in progressive Montgomery County. And so that's something that we continue to, I as a woman on the council, have to continue to work against.
Councilmember Mink represents District 5, which is known to be one of the most diverse areas in the county. She is very intentional about reaching out to residents in her community.
It's critically important to me in all of my work that we are very proactive about outreach into that diverse community. We're always thinking about new ways to reach more people who might not normally engage with county government. So for example, when I hold community meetings, which we do regularly, we canvass the area. We go knock on doors. We are proactive about trying to pull people in. Being here and part of this moment of fruition where we are going to pass a really strong, research-based, meaningful rent stabilization bill. I'm extremely proud of the rent stabilization bill that was passed last year. It's a huge deal. We have a lot of renters in Montgomery County, and I have many, many renters who are in my district, and we worked really hard to make sure that we were incorporating those voices into how we wrote the law. This comes from Alexis Kurtz. She said, "I'm a public school teacher who's recently experienced a 7% rent increase. My rent is nearly 50% of my paycheck, and that's with a roommate. If my rent increases again, I'm going to have to move out of Montgomery County and get a job somewhere else." And I'm so glad that we get to change that story moving forward. Really proud of the role that I was able to play in that and that we got that done.
Councilmember Laurianne Sals is the first woman of color
You're going to sign your name right
elected to serve countywide on the council.
People didn't expect me to be in a lot of rooms and spaces, but I knew that through my faith and through my perseverance, I belonged. I knew I had to work a little harder. I have to speak up a little louder, and I have to assert myself while still embracing my femininity.
Her first year on the job, Councilmember Sals formed the Smart Youth Advisory Council.
We are going to hear from some dynamic students,
which is a program that aims to increase youth participation in local government by having them focus on 5 issue areas, such as education, affordable housing, local food production, climate change, and the economy.
Black-owned small businesses and nonprofit organizations face challenges in obtaining readily available capital.
Hello, my name is Kayla Yang. I'm honestly just so grateful because coming to these meetings like almost every month, we just learn so much on like so many different topics, housing and education, all these different things.
A lot of these issues are interrelated. I'm really proud that I've been able to make advancements in each of those policy areas. And now I am building and training the future generation of public servants through the Smart Youth Advisory Council. We're also, setting aside one of the sessions in each cohort to focus on racial equity and social justice. Someone thought that I was deserving of affordable, quality, safe housing, regardless of my income, my background, or otherwise. What was so personal to me that I wanted to share this opportunity with our young people. An understanding of the historical barriers that have existed for communities of color and how that's impacted their lifelong trajectory.
It is clear that these remarkable council members strive every day to advance and uplift their communities, embodying the true spirit of civic leadership and grassroots progress.